The sister wives brood has been falling apart for months, but was a plural marriage really what Kody wanted from the beginning, or is he better off with one wife? Kody's childhood. Kody Brown, the patriarch of the sister wives family, is losing control of his plural marriage. With one wife after another choosing to leave, it has many fans questioning, was he really ready for a polyamorous marriage to begin with? Let's take a step back and examine where it all began. His childhood. Believe it or not, Kody was not raised in a polyamorous family. His parents, William and Janelle Brown, weren't polygamists, at least not when Kody was born. They were LDS Mormons who no longer believe in the practice of polygamy. It wasn't until Kody was a teenager that William and Janelle started leading a polygamous lifestyle. William had 2 wives in addition to Janelle, and we will get into those juicy details about that just a little bit later. Believe us, you won't want to miss it. Ultimately, William and Janelle influenced Kody's polygamous lifestyle fans see on the show. There's something about Meri. Okay, so now in comes Meri. When Kody met Meri, she was part of a fundamental Mormon church that encouraged polygamy as a religious principle. He decided he liked the faith and the idea and would marry Meri and then pursue other wives. He didn't waste any time proposing to Meri only 2 months after the couple had met. Kody alleges later in life, however, that Meri duped him into getting married. Fans speculated that it was actually Meri that coerced him into the polygamous lifestyle. And in a TLC clip, all the sister wives noted if it hadn't been for Meri and her willingness to enter into a plural marriage, none of them would be with Kody. It's all a bit muddy. Was Kody forced into polygamy or not, or was Meri the mastermind behind it all? Too young for polygamy. When Kody and Meri tied the knot, they were fairly young. Kody was 21 and Meri was just 19. And as mentioned before, he wasn't introduced to the lifestyle until his late teens when his father began pursuing a plural life of his own. So Kody didn't quite have the same guidance that Meri did when it came to leading a polygamous lifestyle. At only 21, starting a plural marriage was a huge undertaking. It seems he lacked the emotional intelligence to take on the responsibility of polygamy. He did not put efforts into what sustains a healthy plural marriage, those being no playing favorites, Robyn, equal affection, Robyn again, and financial security. The marital issues that have arisen over the years indicate that Kody may have married too young to properly manage a plural family. He was never able to focus on each of his wives to build solid foundations with any of them, hence the mass exodus of wives in the last couple of months. Janelle and polygamy. Like Kody, Janelle didn't grow up in a polygamous family either. She actually was raised in the Mormon church, which doesn't promote the lifestyle. But when she saw polygamy in action, she was intrigued. It didn't take too much convincing for her to decide that having sister wives actually sounded pretty nice. She knew she'd be marrying the entire family, which is exactly what she wanted. Janelle has noted that plural marriage appealed to her mostly for the help with child rearing. And this is where things get interesting, because the plot thickens. Remember that juicy secret we promised to reveal earlier? Well, here it goes. The family tree. Okay, stay with us here. Kody's second wife Janelle was once married to his first wife Meri's brother, making Janelle Kody's former sister-in-law. After Janelle divorced Meri's brother, she planned to marry Kody. This piqued Janelle's mother Cheryl's interest in the faith, and she married Kody's dad, Win Brown. So that makes Janelle Kody's former sister-in-law and current stepsister and wife. Their kids together are also technically their nieces and nephews. I thought the Duggar had a complicated family tree, but the Browns are next level. Cheryl married Kody's dad 3 months before Janelle and Kody had their own matrimonial ceremony. Kody's mom and Janelle's mom didn't always get along as well as they do now. They eventually worked out their differences and formed a lasting relationship. But we kind of see how complicated a plural marriage can be and how it could lead to Kody questioning the lifestyle. Who else is a polygamist? Kody and Janelle are the only 2 out of the sister wives family that didn't grow up in a polygamous family. Meri Brown was raised in a polygamous family, so she always knew she wanted to be part of that too. Christine Brown, Kody's third wife, also grew up in a polygamous family. She has mentioned in interviews that she always saw herself as a third wife. She met both Kody and Meri when they were youth leaders at the family's church. Robyn Brown was raised in a polygamous family in St. George, Utah. Here comes some more complicated family tree stuff. Robyn was married to Dave Preston Jessup prior to meeting Kody. As it turns out, Jessup has deep ties to the Brown family. Not only is he Christine's first cousin, but he's also related to both Meri and Kody through marriage. Robyn notes that when she married David, they had planned to add a second wife to their family, but David filed for divorce in 2007 before that happened. Any regrets? With several fractured marriages under his belt, Kody could no longer honestly say he thought polygamy was also a good choice. On the episode of Sister Wives The Basement Wife, Kody explained that he realized later in life that he had been overconfident about his ability to make his wives happy in plural marriage. When Meri and I were newlyweds and I was looking at older polygamous men with their families, I was very critical about their family interaction, the Sister Wives star admitted. But now, Kody explained he knew just how hard it was to sustain a polygamous marriage for many years. His epiphany made him wonder if the troubles he saw in others' marriages were inevitable in most plural families.
That I didn't want to be an advocate of plural marriage anymore.
Struggles with polygamy. In part 3 of the Sister Wives Tell-All finale, Kody Brown admits that he sometimes finds life with multiple women difficult.
Plural marriage make me just think that it's a waste of time.
Acknowledging that former wife Christine Brown was really struggling behind the scenes. Despite continuing to preach the virtues of polygamy in public, Kody described himself as angry.
It made me angry. It made me angry as hell.
The introduction of Robyn caused a lot of jealousy among the wives. Kody was unable to keep up with being fair with his visitation between all of the wives. He was no longer romantic with a couple of them, and when Christine finally pulled the plug on their spiritual marriage, that seemed to be the catalyst that sparked Kody's desire to leave polygamy altogether. And that brings us to better with monogamy. The breakdown of Kody's marriages over the years and the fighting of the wives was a constant struggle for the family patriarch, making him question if polygamy is for him anymore. Fans have speculated that his relationship with Robyn is as strong as it is because it's basically monogamy. During the 9 months of lockdown during the pandemic, Kody spent his entire time at Robyn's house. One fan wrote, "He spent almost a year exclusively with Robyn, and being intimate with anyone else feels like he's cheating. His conscience is telling him it's wrong. He's a monogamist. He never believed in this lifestyle, which is a big part of why he could never make it work." Fake polygamist. Kody has also been hit with fierce backlash after he commented that he didn't like seeing 2 of his wives, Meri and Robyn, sharing a kitchen during an episode. "I would never again for the rest of my life want to have wives sharing a kitchen," he said. "There is a tendency from what I've seen for there to be this vying for power or position or relinquishing power and position to get along, even though Kody has said in the past that he wanted them to all live in the same house together. So they can share a whole house, just not a kitchen?" This made fans angry, claiming that Kody is a fake polygamist because part of the practice is that the wives share things. One viewer took to Twitter saying, "Kody is such a fake polygamist. He doesn't believe in plural marriage, he just wants multiple women around him. Polygamists share a lot, including homes and kitchens." Ready for change. After all the drama, Kody Brown is ready for change. A source reported to Us Weekly that Kody is considering a fresh start, but with a few contingencies. He isn't quite ready to give up on a plural marriage, but wants to start completely over with new wives, and Robyn. Any new wife that comes along in the future needs to respect and be okay with his relationship with Robyn Brown, as he intends to spend the majority of time with her. Next generation. Kody and his 4 wives have 18 children as part of their abundant family, but none of them are interested in pursuing polygamy. The Brown children each have their own reasons for not wanting to follow in their parents' footsteps. In an interview on the Reality Life with Kate Casey podcast, Kody explained that he wouldn't be surprised if none of his kids choose to be polygamous. "I really just don't expect any of my children to be in plural marriage," he confessed. "But I don't know. That's up to them to decide." Did Kody bite off more than he can chew with a plural marriage? What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons to stay up to date with all the latest reality TV news and gossip with The Things Reality.